Welcome to CEO's Library, the 1% Bookshelf. I'm your host, and today we're diving into a book that has the power to transform your life. Imagine for a moment that you're an Olympic swimmer. You've trained for years, and now you're standing on the starting block, ready to compete for gold. The whistle blows, you dive in, and suddenly, the world around you disappears. Your mind is crystal clear, your body moves with perfect precision, and you're completely absorbed in the moment. Time seems to slow down, yet you're moving faster than ever before. This, my friends, is the state of flow. And it's not just reserved for elite athletes. It's a psychological state that's available to all of us, in work, in play, and in our everyday lives. Today we're exploring Flow, the Psychology of Optimal Experience by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. This groundbreaking work reveals the secret to not just success, but to genuine happiness and a life of meaning. So, whether you're a busy executive, an aspiring entrepreneur, or simply someone looking to get more out of life, stick around. You're about to discover how to unlock your full potential and experience life at its best. Let's start by understanding what flow really is. Csikszentmihalyi describes flow as a state of consciousness where you become fully immersed in what you're doing. It's that feeling of being in the zone, where your focus is so intense that everything else fades into the background. Time seems to fly by, your sense of self disappears, and you're operating at your peak. But here's the thing, flow isn't just about feeling good. It's about performing at your best while feeling your best. It's a state where you're challenged, but not overwhelmed, where your skills are pushed to their limits, but not beyond them. It's the sweet spot where difficulty meets ability. Think about a time when you were so engrossed in a task that you lost track of time. Maybe you were playing an instrument, writing code, or even just having a deep conversation with a friend. That's flow. It's when you're so focused on what you're doing that you forget to eat, forget to check your phone, forget about your worries and insecurities. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds great, but I'm not an Olympic athlete or a musical prodigy. How does this apply to me? The beauty of flow is that it can occur in any activity, at any skill level. A chess grandmaster can experience flow while playing a high-stakes tournament, but so can a beginner who's just learning the game. A surgeon can experience flow during a complex operation, but so can a gardener pruning their plants. The key is not the activity itself, but the way you engage with it. So, what are the ingredients that make up a flow experience? Csikszentmihalyi identifies several key components. First, you need clear goals. You need to know exactly what you're trying to achieve. Second, you need immediate feedback. You need to be able to tell how well you're doing as you're doing it. Third, there needs to be a balance between the challenge of the task and your skill level. If the task is too easy, you'll get bored. If it's too hard, you'll get frustrated and anxious. Flow occurs when you're pushing yourself just beyond your comfort zone. Other characteristics of flow include a sense of control, a loss of self-consciousness, and a distorted sense of time. When you're in flow, you feel in command of your actions and the outcome. You're not worried about how you look or what others think of you, and time seems to either slow down or speed up. Hours can pass in what feels like minutes. Now that we understand what flow is, let's talk about why it's so important. The benefits of experiencing regular flow states are profound and far-reaching. First and foremost, flow leads to improved performance. When you're in flow, you're operating at your peak. You're more focused, more creative, and more productive. This is why so many top performers in various fields, from business to sports to the arts, actively seek out flow states. But the benefits go beyond just doing better work. Flow experiences are intrinsically rewarding. They're enjoyable in and of themselves, regardless of the outcome. This intrinsic motivation is powerful. It means you're driven not by external rewards like money or status, but by the sheer enjoyment of the activity itself. This leads to greater persistence, greater creativity, and ultimately, greater success. Moreover, flow experiences contribute significantly to our overall happiness and life satisfaction. Csikszentmihalyi's research shows that people report the highest levels of enjoyment when they're in flow. These moments of total absorption and engagement are what make life worth living. They give us a sense of purpose and meaning. But perhaps most importantly, flow experiences lead to personal growth and increased complexity. When you're in flow, you're constantly pushing your skills to new levels. You're learning, adapting, and becoming more complex as a person. This growth isn't just in the specific skill you're practicing. It's a general increase in your capacity to handle challenges and create order in your consciousness. Let me give you an example. Imagine a software developer named Sarah. She's working on a challenging new project, one that pushes the limits of her current skills. As she dives into the problem, she enters a state of flow. Hours pass unnoticed as she codes, tests, and problem solves. When she finally emerges from this flow state, not only has she made significant progress on the project, but she's also learned new skills, developed new problem-solving strategies, and gained confidence in her abilities. This growth extends beyond her coding skills. She's become more resilient, more creative, and better able to handle complex challenges in all areas of her life. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, "This all sounds great, but my life is so busy and stressful. How am I supposed to find flow in my everyday life?" This brings us to perhaps the most valuable part of Csikszentmihalyi's work, his insights on how we can cultivate more flow experiences in our lives. The first step is to set clear goals. This doesn't just mean long-term life goals, but immediate, short-term objectives for whatever task you're engaged in. If you're writing a report, your goal might be to complete a specific section. If you're in a meeting, your goal might be to contribute at least 3 meaningful ideas. Clear goals give your mind something to focus on and work towards. Next, you need to ensure you're getting immediate feedback. This feedback doesn't have to come from external sources. It can be self-generated. Are you making progress towards your goal? Are you overcoming the challenges you're facing? Regularly checking in with yourself and assessing your progress can provide this necessary feedback. Another crucial step is to eliminate distractions. Flow requires your full attention, so you need to create an environment that supports deep focus. This might mean turning off notifications on your phone, finding a quiet place to work, or using tools like noise-canceling headphones. Perhaps the most important factor in cultivating flow is finding the right level of challenge. Remember, flow occurs when your skills are stretched, but not overwhelmed. If you're not experiencing flow in your work or hobbies, it might be because you're not challenging yourself enough. On the other hand, if you're constantly stressed and anxious, you might be taking on challenges that are beyond your current skill level. This leads us to another key point: developing your skills. The more skilled you become at an activity, the more complex the challenges you can take on, and the deeper the flow states you can experience. This is why continuous learning and skill development are so crucial for a life rich in flow experiences. Finally, and perhaps most challengingly, you need to learn to be fully present in the moment. Flow is all about being here, now. It's about fully engaging with what you're doing, rather than letting your mind wander to the past or future. This takes practice, but techniques like mindfulness meditation can be incredibly helpful. Let's look at how this might play out in real life. Imagine you're a manager leading a team meeting. Instead of just going through the motions, you set a clear goal for the meeting. Say, to come up with 3 innovative solutions to a problem your team is facing. You structure the meeting to provide immediate feedback, perhaps by using a whiteboard to track ideas and progress. You ensure everyone's phones are off to eliminate distractions. You challenge yourself and your team by pushing for truly innovative ideas, not just safe, conventional ones. And you remain fully present, actively listening to each team member and building on their ideas. By approaching the meeting this way, you transform what could have been a boring, routine task into an opportunity for flow. Not only is the meeting likely to be more productive, but it's also more enjoyable and engaging for everyone involved. And over time, as you and your team get better at this approach, you'll be able to tackle even more complex challenges, entering even deeper states of flow. Now, I want to address a common misconception about flow. Some people hear about this optimal state of consciousness and think it's about constantly feeling good or always being happy. But that's not what flow is about. Flow often involves struggle. It involves pushing yourself, facing challenges, and sometimes failing. The joy of flow doesn't come from avoiding difficulty, but from fully engaging with it. This is a crucial point, especially for those of us facing stress or adversity in our lives. Flow isn't about escaping our problems. It's about engaging with them in a way that leads to growth and meaning. In fact, some of Csikszentmihalyi's most powerful examples of flow come from people facing incredibly difficult circumstances, prisoners of war, survivors of terrible accidents, people living with severe disabilities. These individuals found ways to create order in their consciousness and experience flow even in the most challenging conditions. This brings us to one of the most profound insights from flow, the idea that happiness is not something that just happens to us. It's not a result of good fortune or random chance. Instead, happiness is a condition that must be prepared for and cultivated by each person. When we learn to control our inner experience, we become able to determine the quality of our lives. This is the true promise of flow. Not a life free from challenges, but a life where we're able to face those challenges with engagement, skill, and even joy. As we wrap up, I want to encourage each of you to seek out more flow experiences in your life. Start by paying attention to those moments when you feel fully engaged, when time seems to fly by, when you're challenged but not overwhelmed. What are you doing in those moments? How can you create more opportunities for those experiences? Then, start actively cultivating flow. Set clear goals for yourself, not just in your work, but in your hobbies and relationships as well. Seek out feedback and adjust your approach based on what you learn. Gradually increase the challenges you take on as your skills improve, and practice being fully present in whatever you're doing. Remember, the goal isn't to be in flow all the time. That's neither possible nor desirable. The ebb and flow of experience is what makes life rich and meaningful. But by increasing the amount of time you spend in flow, you can dramatically improve the quality of your life and unlock your full potential. Before we close, I want to remind you that you can find a link to purchase Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi in the show notes. I highly recommend reading the full book. There's so much more depth and insight that we couldn't cover in this episode. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of flow. I hope you found it valuable and that it inspires you to seek out more optimal experiences in your own life. Until next time, keep growing, keep challenging yourself, and keep flowing.